Hello world, you're watching Joel and Chris with 80s Music Twin Ranked. By the end of today's video, we will have ranked, let's see, 100 songs.
This is number 5.
This is number 5 for the bands. We would have
It's
ranked,
not our 5th band. We are
50
going
songs,
out of
excuse me.
We are going out of order.
I said it wrong, 50 songs we will have ranked. Top 10 for 5 groups. And interestingly,
What number is ZZTop on our list?
number 15.
So it's going to say that on the thumbnail, probably number 15.
Yeah, this is the first band that neither one of us put in the top 10, but we're going out of order because of the recent death of Dusty Hill.
He was, the bassist, right?
He also did keyboards, believe it or not. I wondered, I listened to Afterburn and I'm like, that song has keyboards. They're a trio. Who plays the keyboards? I looked up, it was Dusty Hill.
Yeah, so ZZTop is a trio band. There's not too many 80s famous. There's a lot of trio bands out there, but not too many famous. We got Rush, ZZTop, The Police, and you can name them all. Remember, anytime you have like Rush is Neil Peart,
Yes.
Neil Peart, Geddy Lee, and Alex Lifeson. Police is Stuart Copeland. Sting, which is that his name is actually Gordon Sumner, and
The one you missed.
Andy Summers.
And the one band you didn't say was Genesis.
Oh, Genesis,
who
yeah.
Did not start out as a trio, obviously. And if you ever went to their concert, they're still not a trio. They have all the other guys who can play the instruments that the normal band can play.
Right, and
because-
we have, the album they became a trio was, and then there were 3.
That's right.
And that's Phil Collins, Mike
dropping out.
Rutherford, and Tony Banks. And we're doing ZZ Top, which is Billy Gibbons on guitar, Dusty Hill was the bassist, and Frank Beard on the drums. And it's funny because Frank Beard, the guy who has the name Beard in his name, is the only one that doesn't have a beard in the group.
And to my knowledge, they have never appeared on Duck Dynasty. They're known for the big beards.
Yeah, but they didn't start out with the beards. They formed in 1969, and they came back in 1979. They were on a 3-year hiatus. When they came back, I don't know if they did it. They knew they were doing it, but they came back with chest-length beards. And then when they went on stage, they were always wearing hats and sunglasses with them, and that was their signature look.
It was actually just about a month and a half ago. I was at a bookstore and I saw a Rolling Stone magazine listing the top 100 guitarists all time.
He's in the 30s.
Dusty Hill's in the 30s somewhere, but the picture they used for ZZ Top was they were all beardless.
Oh, okay.
And I think that was the first time I've ever seen them all beardless. That was kind of interesting. But I was saying it earlier. This will be our 5th band, so we'll be ranking 10 songs of theirs, which means we'll have ranked 50 songs. And interestingly, the percentage of songs that come from the 80s is 80%. There will only have been 10 songs we either ranked in the 70s or the 90s. So
Coincidence?
yes, we're biased because that's when we were teenagers at the time. Now they had popular songs. We look at the history behind us. Laziness up at the beginning. Is there any other band out there who puts out their first album and literally calls it, "This is our first album"? ZZ Top's first album. Say, hey Chris, what's ZZ Top's first album?
It's called ZZ Top's first album.
Lazy.
No, a lot of people do. Their first album is just their name. So
That's true.
don't know why they didn't do that. They never did that. I don't think they ever did that.
When you're a group, you can't really do that.
Yeah, okay.
And Huey Lewis, he could have done it, but then he's alienating his band, right?
Well, Genesis did it, but it was like their 10th album or something.
Then it's self-titled.
Yeah.
Def Leppard finally did it on their last album. But, so, we've never revealed what our last name is, but we'll tell you this. Chris and I's last name starts with a Z. And I don't know that anybody ever did it in high school, but Chris mentioned before this video started that we went to church here in Ohio where one of the pastors called us ZZ Top because we know how to play instruments, and we were going to actually be in the band once our church sent another church out. And yeah, there's your musical group, ZZ, and I guess
the
singer
guy
at
who
the top.
sang
Because he's out front. I don't know if that's the reasoning. Who knows? So, back to the history of not us, but ZZTop. So they're going through all these albums, and I noted here, Chris said, hey, this first chart here goes all the way from 71 to 82, which is about the halfway point. And except for that first album, everyone is titled in Spanish. And interestingly, the other group that did it, the Police, is a trio.
Was theirs in Spanish or just weird?
Well, Zenyatta Mandata.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Is that a legitimate? I would imagine it's a real.
Well, we'll
word.
go over their title albums when we get to that.
Right, but I believe they are. And what's that other one? Moondata something? I can't remember. Regatta de Blanc. That means white, right? Okay, so they have these albums that they're all in Spanish. Maybe that's why they weren't huge until the 80s in America. I don't know. But they definitely have a different sound to them. They're a blues rock band. You can tell from their music. And the one guy trying to sound bluesy with his low voice. Until you noted last week to me, in the 80s, suddenly they sounded higher.
Yeah, because like if you look, well, Cheap Sunglasses, they're kind of, I guess maybe that's not when they started
So
singing.
would you consider that a falsetto voice? I don't know.
Yeah.
But so
I also mentioned to you last week going through the songs. There's two songs you recognized, but you didn't realize they were singles. And I said, hey, they were a Christian band.
Well, this would...
They started out with, there's a song they played that's, if you hear it, you're like, I recognize that, called Jesus Just Left Chicago. And there's another one called Waiting for the Bus All Day, and he starts with, have mercy. So I'm like, hey, they're a Christian band. They're not.
Well, Def Leppard's a Christian band too, right? they know the Bible somehow. So they got these first three albums, and I don't know if I recognize anything from the top two albums, but then you had their first Billboard chart song called Francine, which I don't recognize.
I didn't recognize it either.
But that's considered their first. As a matter of fact, oh wait, no, Francine was on Rio Grande Mud. Sorry. Tres Hombres had
LaGrange?
Yes.
That was about their first hit that I recognized.
LaGrange and the two you just mentioned that people would recognize, but they weren't listed as singles.
Right.
I didn't even put them on our ranked list because I forgot about them. You look at the title, I don't know, is that a hit? You can't tell. But then, Fandango would be their first top 20 hit, and that's Tush. And this band definitely is known for double entendre music. We won't get into that. and I think that's their only hit from that song. Teja came out. I don't know anything from that.
Teja.
If these are from Mexico or Spanish, that's J as an H. Deguella or Deguelo, or I don't know how you say that one. That one had three. That had the Cheap Sunglasses you mentioned.
Thank you.
I thank you. And another song I forgot to put on our list, but it was on the greatest hits, and that was reminded me on Bad on Nationwide.
Oh yeah.
And that's where it had the time change.
Right.
Dun, 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 dun. And time changes are cool. We'll note that when we come to Rush. And then you get to 81, and you would think they're starting to build, but really I consider that their better album than El Loco. You're heading toward Eliminator, you think they're starting to rise, but then they go to El Loco, and it's got two hits, Pearl Necklace and Tube Snake Boogie.
Right.
Both songs you do not want to talk about. They'd fit great in today's music because they're blatant about their topics today. Why not on there? So that's our, and you have already, before we get to the popular one, we've already said 7 albums. So they're not even that big yet. They closest they had was Touch.
But they had 9.
One top 20. Yeah, they charting songs, but one top 20 song, Tush, before Eliminator. So pull that other one, will you? Changing over charts. So we get to the almost mid 80s. They come out with the Eliminator, and again, here's your big songs. You got Give Me All Your Lovin' and Sharp Dressed Man. And let me just tell you, when they came out in the 80s, if they both came on the radio, I wouldn't know which one's which because they sound
Yeah,
so
they do.
much
I
alike.
believe that too. Also, I think they also burst on the scene because not just because of the album, but MTV.
MTV,
They
yeah.
have their videos,
And it wasn't because of them. It's obviously because of the three girls they put in their videos too.
And they had the famous car.
That car, and they still eat. I was watching a video from their most recent album, La Future, last album, and they still had 3 chicks in it. They had 3 actual cars. They weren't red anymore. They were all like a black car, same type car, and all 3 girls were driving one. So they were still using that. You know, once you get to your thing that makes you famous, you stay there.
Yeah, you stick with it. Don't change.
But they also came out with Legs, and Legs obviously became their biggest hit for obviously reasons. But it only went up to number 8 on the charts.
Hey, so what I was saying was that Mark Knopfler, when he was recording Money for Nothing, at the intro, that guitar sound, he was trying to get it to sound like ZZTop sounded, like the Eliminator. ZZ, I don't know, is Billy Gibbons was a guitarist. He said, "You're close, but not really."
No, Money for Nothing, Brothers in Arms. That came out in '86, or was it '85?
It might have been '85.
Okay, so yeah, that would actually make sense since we know that '85 is the best year. And Eliminator would have been 2 years earlier. So yeah, so it was still, and honestly, there with 3 songs that were similar. Legs is similar to "Gimme All Your Lovin' and Sharp Dressed Man," just slightly different, but all 3 of them used the girls, so maybe that's why it seems like they're similar.
Yeah, and they had 5 hits. So they also had "Got Me Under Pressure," also came out, and there was a song called "TV Dinner."
And if you've never seen that video, check it out. You're like, this is ZZTop, and they're using a little monster in their video.
Yeah, a little claymation monster maybe. And they actually had the TV dinners. I know they still make TV dinners now. They weren't like they were back then. Back then they had the foil wrap on top of them.
And they were a big deal. Today it's
I think
something in the
I
microwave.
actually think TV dinners tasted better back then when they had
Probably.
the foil.
Probably. That's funny. I don't. Yeah. Do they even call them TV dinners anymore?
I thought they did. I don't know.
I would imagine not. So, and you said earlier, so the Eliminator is their biggest hit, right?
It's their top selling album, right?
Now, might as well go here. Is that your favorite album?
No, it is not. My next,
Nor mine.
The next album is my favorite album of theirs.
And now,
Afterburner.
No, we remember we had a friend that we were over their house. He liked to play basketball all the time.
Right.
We got to. Did he have a pool table inside?
He might have. That's why.
I think that's why we were inside.
He
played Afterburner, and then we liked Afterburner. And mine, actually, I think both of our number 1 songs come from that, but they're not the same. So this is why we twin rank. You know, sometimes I like something, and people are like, "How do you like that?" And he likes something, and you're like, "How do you like?" We're gonna average them off, and then all the crazy goes away because we can average and say, "Yeah, that's about right. Get that other crap out of here." That's what I look at it. So Eliminator is their top selling album that year.
But when Afterburner came out, it was the top selling album of the year, even though it didn't surpass Eliminator.
Right.
It was still the highest selling album of
But the following year it came out, 1986, they were the biggest act crowd-wise. So all their concerts were sellouts, and they had the most attendance for 1986. And then you'll notice after Afterburner, 4 years of nothing. Now, do you know why that is?
I do not.
I don't either. I'm looking at them like, Joe, you have all this.
Maybe they were selling so much that they just went on tour for 4 years.
Yeah, like, you know, we got all this money now. Let's go do stuff that we want to do.
Maybe that's what
I would do.
Yeah.
So then in 1990 they put out Recycler. And I wouldn't have thought that this was a big album, but I looked at the hits. I'm like, oh, this has more hits than I thought.
Oh, you know, you're missing something up here.
What am I missing?
You do not, and I'll give you 30 seconds to try to guess what you're missing up here.
Well, I know I'm missing the movie.
Yes.
But that hit is actually on Recycler.
Okay. So
now you'll
1985.
you'll remember that our first video was for Huey Lewis, unless you haven't watched it yet. But my favorite song all of the 1980s is "The Power of Love" from Back to the Future,
and that came out in 1985.
And Huey Lewis made a cameo in that.
And we've been talking about every time we've had a band on here, they have had some relation to movies.
Even Def Leppard, they had the one song that was in Last Action Hero.
Yeah, Two Steps Back, which was is it Two Steps Back or Two
Steps Behind?
Okay, from the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Last Action Hero.
Right. But so Billy Joel was an animated character. Phil Collins has starred in his own movie. Huey Lewis starred in movies. They had a cameo on Back to the Future. And here's ZZTop.
And they had a cameo in the
only movie they've ever been in.
And Back to the Future 3, when they were in the Old West, they had a cameo when there was like some sort of party being thrown.
I think it was a
festival.
I think it was a square dance, and they legitimately played the song "Doubleback,"
but with acoustic instruments.
Yeah, playing it as if it was from the Western times, which is kind of neat. And I'm not. Did you recognize the band when the movie came out? Do you know?
I might have known before going to the movie that they were in.
Okay, all right. So, and interesting, I did actually look up each individual one to see if they've been in anything else. There's a TV show called Bones. It's like a crime solving show. Billy Gibbons played one of the girls' dads in that show.
Okay.
So, interesting. All right, so a couple years later, their greatest hits came out, and similar to Billy Joel, they had 2 hits off of that album. I own
Viva Las Vegas was one of them?
No, it was not.
No, okay.
It was Gun Love, which is the lesser of the 2 songs, and get my chart out here. Oh yeah, Viva Las Vegas. You're right. It was Viva Las Vegas and Gun Love. Go figure. Now
And you own that?
I own
cassette.
the greatest hits, and I also own Afterburner.
Did you? Okay.
Yes. So yeah, you listened to it from.
I didn't know.
Really like it. I did own it. I couldn't find it today.
Now they don't have to own anything. You just it's on YouTube.
That's right. We keep telling you it's on your phone. It's on YouTube as a full album, most likely. Don't buy CDs anymore. How's that for a promotion? Okay, so they had 2 hits off of that. A couple of years later, they put out Antenna, and from what I read, this is the first time they had a song that included the album title. It's like Antenna Head or something like that.
Oh yeah, we didn't mention when we changed the size that Eliminator was their biggest hit, and that's when they started doing English names.
And yeah, all the way down. Well, they went back.
Maybe that was their problem if they put out English names before they would have gotten more popular.
Now the reason I stopped the chart at 1994 is because that was the last time they had a charted hit. Now, I keep mentioning the Billboard 100. It didn't hit the 100, but it's still charted at 124, and it lists that on Wikipedia. So, and that was Pincushion. One of these other albums contains a song called Sin Pusher. From what I understand, it's the exact song as Pincushion with different lyrics. Don't know if I've heard anybody do that before. You got 4 other albums here. Rhythmine, I've never heard. 3 X's, which marked their 30th anniversary. Mescalera, getting back to their Spanish words, and La Futura, which I just heard, and actually found out that they still use the 3 girls in their car in the videos. So that's the history of ZZTop. And you can tell since I stopped here that chances are most of the songs, obviously all the songs are going to be above. From this greatest hits, by the way, only contains songs from 1983 to here. I don't believe it had LaGrange or songs like that, because they had a greatest hits before that, but it wasn't very popular.
Okay.
Because they weren't a popular band. So let's get into our
top 10.
Top 10. And here's for an honorable mention. We have 2 songs, one from each of our lists. Mine was Got Me Under Pressure, which was one of their hits from Eliminator, which probably has the middle. The only time I've heard a drum middle, you have sax solos, guitar solos, sometimes keyboards. This is the only one I know that has a drum middle. and it's probably the most boring drum solo ever. Like she just goes. Can you imagine seeing him play that live? It's like he's not doing anything. And the song that you put on yours that didn't make it would have been "Rough Boy," which would have been, if we would have had it, would have been the fourth single from After.
Yeah, I really like the guitar playing on that song. So
Yeah.
even though it's slow,
and
that's why it's not on there because we don't like slow songs.
Something like that. Now I am surprised of one of the songs that made it, and it was number 10, because it didn't come out of the 80s, and it would. Oh, that reminds me. On is it Antenna or Recycler? Might have been Antenna. Or no, it's Recycler because it's 4 hits. My Head's in Mississippi. If you played that prior to me researching, if you would have played that for me, My Head's in Mississippi, I could have swore it came before Eliminator, because it harkens back to songs like LaGrange and those. But it actually came from down here, Recycler.
Yeah, when I played it, I didn't recognize it. So.
Yeah. Okay, so number 10, which I listed as 16. Because the older ones I'm not as big a fan of. Chris has this as his number 3 song, and probably because it's
iconic.
It's LaGrange.
Yeah.
And now drummers do like that part where he's like, that part obviously is the part I like. But yeah, overall a song I'm not particularly fond of. But it made our list nonetheless.
Yeah. Gotta have some of those. One or two from the old.
Yeah.
Before Eliminator.
Right. Okay. I don't know what else I would have put. Cheap Sunglasses. When I bought the greatest hits, I did listen to those 70s songs over and over. Cheap Sunglasses, I think I did like. Okay. So number 9. First song from Eliminator would have been Sharp Dressed Man, and there are videos, that complain that this is a bad song, and then there's these first-time listeners that listen to them like, why are you dogging it? I liked it. Well, I'll tell you why. Today's music is crap, so you can listen to that. It's pretty good.
People didn't like it because they're like, what if I'm poor? I can't be sharp dressed.
It's not a good message. I don't know. All right, number 8 comes from the hits, and that's Viva Las Vegas. It's like LaGrange. I have this as number 3. You ranked it way down to 14, so it's like the flip.
Is that just Elvis Presley's song?
It is.
Imagined by them.
It is. And this would be the one band, if they're going to imitate Elvis, it's ZZTop. He sounds like Elvis in that, and I like the way he does his whatever. Okay, next one up is called "Give It Up" from Recycler. That's number 7. Number 7 is "Give It Up." Number 6 would be "Give Me All Your Love," and I already mentioned. I think it was the first hit that came from Eliminator. Do you remember reading that?
No, I don't.
If it
I didn't look.
I believe it was their first hit coming from Eliminator, because I know Legs came after the other 2 were already there, and that actually, just like "Pour Some Sugar on Me," that lifted Eliminator once Legs came out. But "Give Me All Your Love" we have as number 6. Like I said, ranking those: Sharp Dressed Man, "Give Me All Your Love," and Legs. Just like a progression. I think that's the order they put them out. Okay, number 5, Doubleback, the one we just talked about from Back to the Future. I have this as number 7. You have it at number 6. Legs, I actually have as number 4. And you have as number 7, so that is a legitimate number 4. That probably would have been their highest ranking song. I think it did better than Sleeping Bag, even when Sleeping Bag came off of Afterburner. The next one up, Sleeping Bag. Now our top 3 songs, I'll just note, come from Afterburner. You'll notice.
Which we like the best.
Basically, it's our favorite album, coming from the year 1985. So
because I just think that's probably because we're drummers. And that album seems to have the better drums.
It does have the better, yeah. And when we get to number 1, you'll see it's a good beat. Okay, so number 3 from that album is "Sleeping Bag." Now, you have "Sleeping Bag" as your top song for ZZ Top.
Yeah, okay.
I have "Stages" as the top song from that. Stages doesn't sound like anything.
And neither of those probably is the number one song.
It's not, because one of us likes it really much and the other one's way down here, but I put your number one lower than you put my number one, so therefore your number one is lower than mine. So Sleeping Bag is number 3, and that was at the first. That's the first song that came from Afterburner, and again, it's got a good beginning. Dun 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 dun. I have to do that. Stages is number 2. That's my number 1. I think it has a better guitar part in it, which is what I like.
The video was live. They were on stage and they showed the drums a lot.
Well, no, it was actually the space video, but they'd have TVs go by and they were in concert on those TVs, so kind of a live video, I guess.
But those are what I remember. I don't remember the space part at all.
Right. Well, I've watched these videos, and as a matter of fact, when I ranked all my '80s songs at the beginning before we started our videos, I have Stages as one of the top 10 songs overall of the '80s, along with Power of Love, The Heat Is On, Susudio, Stages.
I might do that as one of our top 10 things. We'll do the songs of different bands.
So I really like Stages. Okay, and then so number 2, because we both had this song as our number 2, so you know what our number 1s were? Right after that, we both listed the exact same song, and that would be
Velcro Fly.
Velcro Fly, and it says, do the Velcro Fly. You know what the Velcro Fly is?
No, all I remember in videos, they did this because they were doing a Z.
For ZZTop?
For ZZTop,
I don't know. Do you know? Is that the Velcro Fly?
No, that's not the Velcro Fly. I'm not sure what the Velcro Fly is. I know in their video they had 3 ladies again, and they're all dressed like Egyptian.
Right. Well, Jack, my son Jack, he wanted to play the video, and Tracy comes in and she's like, "Don't watch that video." I'm like, "Jack, pick one of the ones that just shows the music, not the video itself. It's inappropriate." but that's good. That's even better beat. Sleeping Bag starts out with the drums. It's pretty cool, but Velcro Fly obviously is a faster song, and you definitely pronounce, and it even
keyboard.
And it actually sounds like a electronic drum set, probably.
It doesn't even really. It's not even really a guitar. It's like da da da. It's not a keyboard.
Right. Yes, and that's the first time Afterburner is the first time I realized ZZTop has keyboards, and I'm like, they're a trio. I don't remember any of them ever playing keyboards, so I looked it up, and Dusty Hill plays the keyboards. As a matter of fact, I forgot to mention this when we hit Doubleback, which came from Back to the Future 3. Just so you know, there's a Back to the Future 2. Did that one have any bands?
No. That was a dark movie.
No music from the 80s bands for that movie. But yeah, so Doubleback was one of the few songs Dusty Hill sang. So Billy Gibbons did not sing that song. But couldn't really tell. I mean, they both sound the same. They're obviously not related because they got different last names. But when you look at them, they look like they're brothers.
Yeah, I said when they came back after 3 years, I don't even know if they were talking to each other going, "Hey, let's grow our beards out." Or they come back like, "Hey, you both have the same beard."
Yeah.
Did they do it on purpose? Or
I would imagine even on purpose. Yeah. Both, that would be the most amazing coincidence ever. They both come with beards and didn't know the other one was doing it. Has that ever happened? Conspiracy.
Yeah. And why Frank Beard never's like, "You know what, I'm going to do it too." Maybe the beard would get in his way from drumming.
I would. You would think something like that might. Are there any big bearded drummers? I don't remember. So that's our top 10. We came, again, another top 10 that doesn't have either of our number 1s on it. It's
I don't know if we'll ever get it where we pick the same one.
Yeah, we both picked number 1 for Huey Lewis, and so far that's the only time. So Velcro Fly would be our number 1, and I'm okay with that because honestly, number 2 is pretty good. We'll jump it up to number 1.
Yeah. So again, leave a comment of your top 10 list, your top song, or what. You can like and subscribe to our videos too,
and be the first one
to make a comment.
To leave a comment. I'm Joel.
You gonna tell them what we're gonna do next week, or
next week?
It is a band that, if you go to Wikipedia, they're called an arena band. I know that.
Yes. This ain't really a hint because you're like, I don't know. But this band has my wife's favorite singer from the 80s groups.
And this is also the band where they really got popular when they changed singers.
Yeah. And neither of those two hits help anybody because that's happened a lot.
Yeah. So,
They are still going. And I'll tell you this, they're on, since the one that made him popular isn't with them, and he would have been their second, they're right now on their fourth singer. And they're still touring. All right, we'll leave it at that. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.